Why did Tony Stark name his most important safety protocol in Avengers Endgame after a barn door? In a world of names like Project Insight or the Sokovia Accords, it was almost a comedy success. It sounds like a random flavor. That simple name is the key to one of Iron Man's most dramatic failures. The psychological scar he carried for a decade, his secret friendship that led to every detail in his life, was never forgotten. This is the definitive story of the Barn Door Protocol. The theory is this. The Barn Door Protocol is a direct and deeply personal callback to a near-death experience Tony had at his absolute lowest point 10 years earlier in Iron Man 3. To understand the weight of this, we have to go back. This wasn't the confident Tony Stark we knew. He was a man broken by the Battle of New York, haunted by what he saw in that wormhole, and crippled by severe PTSD. He was having panic attacks, unable to sleep, tinkering obsessively in his lab. He felt like a failure. It's in this vulnerable state that he's stranded in rural Tennessee. His suit is powerless, and he's relying on the help of a kid named Harley Keener. When he finally summons the courage to confront the villain, Aldrich Killian, he does so without his armor, using cobbled-together gadgets. In a moment of pure desperation, he calls for his Mark 42 suit to fly across the country and save him. But it never comes. Why? Because the entire multi-million-dollar suit of armor, a weapon that fought aliens, was literally trapped behind the simple wooden doors of Harley Keener's barn. A low-tech, four-walled structure almost got Iron Man killed. For a man obsessed with his technology always having a countermeasure, always being the solution, this was a profound lesson. It wasn't an enemy that outsmarted him, it was a simple box. He learned in that moment that the most basic structure could successfully contain his most advanced chaotic technology. And perfectly, with a critical piece of evidence, Tony's established naming patterns. His protocols were never generic. The director's name was a specific choice to bring back actor Ty Simpkins, reprised his role as a teenage Harley Quinn. They wanted to close that, confirming that Tony's connection to Harley and his experiences in Tennessee were a crucial, unresolved thread in his life story, a thread directly referenced by the protocol's name. So, when the Avengers faced the single most dangerous moment in cosmic history, containing the unimaginable radiation of 6 Infinity Stones, snapping half the universe back into existence, what did Tony's PTSD-driven, always preparing mind fall back on? Not some fancy armor. He fell back on memories of one world his technology was undeniable and humiliating. Why did Tony Stark name his most important safety protocol in Avengers Endgame after a barn door? In a world of names like Project Insight or the Sokovia Accords, it sounds almost comically low-tech. It sounds like a random placeholder, a throwaway line of tech jargon, but it's not. That seemingly simple name is the key to one of Iron Man's most traumatic failures, a psychological scar he carried for a decade, and a secret friendship that proves
Slash malicious compliance, where people follow exact orders despite the luck. And in today's episode, we've got smug, errant idiots, shady insurance companies, power-tripping engineers, and one only tells a story about the time a new errant boss comes in and tries to save money, and it ends up costing big time. It's an episode you don't want to miss. Guys, I hope you enjoyed. Or make your post email right here. Let's dive in. So my parents had a house fire recently, no fault of theirs. And while the house didn't burn to the ground, and this is important later, it's basically and replacement will be frustrating. They're in a bit of a situation and what is monthly. If any covered appliance isn't working properly, the service company will send someone out to troubleshoot. They'll then repair it, and if it can't be repaired, they'll replace it. My parents have the total coverage plan, including everything, from kitchen to laundry to the freezer chest and the mudroom fridge. Since the house is uninhabitable, they called to cancel the service and ask about prorating the month. My mom explains the situation, and the rep on the phone says, sorry, they can't prorate this month, nor can they cancel the service for the next payment cycle, even though they're in the middle of this payment cycle. Basically, it'll be about 45 more days of paying for coverage. My mom then states that they're dealing with the stress of a house fire, and they're living in short-term housing. My mom says, I understand you can't prorate this month, but can you at least cancel the service for next month based on our situation? The rep says, well, I'm happy to cancel the service effective today, if that's what you really want, but you'll still have to pay for this month and next month. Get cute with my mom. My mom then says, okay, no, we aren't going to cancel a service we still have to pay for. Please keep the service in place. Instead, I would like to file a claim on all of our appliances. There's a pause, and the rep then says, you can't do that on appliances destroyed by fire. To which my mom then says, oh no, the house was damaged, and the appliances weren't destroyed. And since this plan is effective next month, we start a claim to send a service rep to the house for all of our covered appliances, if any repairs or replacements as needed. There's another pause, and then the rep asks her to hold. A few minutes later, a supervisor gets on the line, and she says that due to the circumstances, they're happy to make an exception to cancel coverage early if she would like. My mom says, yes, thank you. The post ends right there, guys, but well played, Mom. And seriously, I always love it when customers are smarter than the corporation at their very own game. And guys, I'm sure there are some out there that will agree with me on this one when I say I do wish Opie's mom followed through with the claim. Like, you refuse the easy option, so no, I refuse the cancellation. I'd like someone to come out right now. Let me know your thoughts on this one. So I used to work in a pawn shop as both a sales associate and a pawnbroker. I have so many stories that I could probably fill this subreddit, but this one always makes me smile because of how smug this man was. When I was a sales associate, I sold a lot of items because A, someone might come in and they would want it, and they would have the money right there and then, and B, he had a layaway program. So unless he put some money down, 20%, holding it wasn't an option. So that said, one day, a man comes in, and he's looking for a very specific type of ring. A diamond channel set anniversary ring, white gold, size number 5. The pawn shop I worked at had a vast
Casey,
collection
stop.
of things in many sizes and with many different. Basically, we don't have inventory or stock of any specific item, and our jewelers are sizing and giving purposes only. So I show him my ring that I have in the case. I say to him, here you go, exactly sizing, and it's just over the carat weight. The man then pulls out a loop and he looks at the diamond, and he says, okay, they're not as here like normally like that, but yeah, I understand, but the price is going to be $1,000, and at the regular store,
What is happening? Where the hell is the people?
Okay, well, I know
Bitch, get moving.
I think they have one quality at this time. The woman working at the ring is clearly listening to our conversation, but I'm positive I just noticed her. The woman sees the ring in my hand, and I can see her eyebrows go up. I then respond and say, I'm not sure, but they're a smaller store, so they're the ring will be the correct size for the same carat weight. The man then says, okay, well, hold the ring for me. I want to go see their inventory. To which I respond, I'm sorry, you can't. Company policy is that all items held must be put on the table for holding. If someone wants to buy an item and it isn't in layaway, we don't want to stop them. The man then says, Well, you know what? I'm gonna hold off and go check that store. If someone comes in and sees this specific ring, and believe me, anyone is going to, then yeah, go ahead and sell it. But I doubt that's gonna happen. The guy then walked away with a kind of a smug look on his face. Just as he left, the woman who was listening to our conversation walks up. She then says, "Hey, can I see that ring he didn't want?" I then hand it over to her, and the woman slips it on her finger, and she smiles and says, "I'll take it." The woman didn't even hesitate. She straight up bought this ring after wearing it for 5 seconds. During ring out, I asked her why, and she said she'd been searching for a channel set ring for a few years at the pawn shops, but none had caught her eye like that one, and it happened to be her size, which can be hard to find. I told her to have a nice day and cleaned it before she left. About 45 minutes later, the smug man walks back in. The guy says to me, "Okay, they didn't have anything, so I guess I'll take that one." Just after he left, a woman came up, tried the ring on, and she bought it. I don't have any more in the carat weight you're looking for, but I do have some in the higher carat weights if you're interested. The guy loses it and says, "Are you being serious? You knew I would be back. Why did you sell it? My wife would have loved that ring." That's when I tell him, "Well, you did say that I should if someone came in and saw it. Just because you think something's not going to happen doesn't mean it can't." What a great malicious compliance. And seriously, that's what he gets for being all, "But I doubt anybody will buy this stupid ring." I also wouldn't be surprised if the lady who bought that ring did it to spite the guy just a little bit. That said though, potential future sale versus a sale for sure, like right now, decision.